One of the most important things you can do in your garden is to mulch. Mulch is about adding a layer of organic or inorganic material on top of the soil, and we're going to talk you through why you need to do that and the different products that are available. So why do I need to mulch? Well, there's various reasons depending on the season. In the winter time, a nice thick layer of mulch like this can protect delicate roots or bulbs or tubers under the ground. It can stop the frost from penetrating down into the ground and destroying those roots. Also, when it rains really heavily, it can stop soil splash onto patios and pathways and decking and things like that, for example. And it can create a surface that's much easier to walk on, that doesn't stick to your boots and carry mud all over the garden. And over the course of the winter time, it gradually breaks down, it adds organic material to the soil, and it improves the fertility of the soil. So there's lots and lots of advantages using mulch in the winter time, but also fabulous advantages in the summertime. In the summertime, it can keep moisture in the ground, so you don't need to water so often. It really helps to suppress weeds. It looks fantastic between your plants as well. And again, you can walk in between very easily when you need to attend to the plants, and you're not going to tread mud and soil and so on all onto the lawns. So lots and lots of advantages for mulch, but mainly, especially in the summertime, and the way the climate is changing, it's going to keep that moisture in, it's going to cut down on watering, and it's just going to cut down on the amount of maintenance as well if you're keeping weeds at bay. And whether it's spring, summer, autumn or winter, that organic mulch is always going to break down and add nutrients, bulk and health to the soil and the soil bacteria. So we've talked about organic and inorganic mulch, and we've got some examples here that lots and lots of people can get hold of very easily. And one of them is organic farmyard manure. This is a particularly good mulch because it breaks down gradually. It'll improve sandy soils by holding on to the moisture. It'll improve clay soils by breaking them up and stopping them being so compact. And also it adds nutrients to the soil as well. So farmyard manure is a particularly good mulch to use in the garden, especially on very heavy or very sandy soils. You could use something like bark mulch, and this is a byproduct of the forestry industry. This is literally wood chippings or bark that's been taken off of trees and logs as they're processed. And again, a thick layer of this over the soil will be fantastic for the soil bacteria, fantastic for insects, and it will break down gradually. Last quite a number of years, but it will break down gradually and add organic material to the soil. And of course, when you're adding organic material to the soil, you're improving the life ecosystem of the soil as well. You're stimulating the bacteria, you're stimulating all the beneficial organisms living in the soil. So that is the fantastic advantage of using an organic mulch. You can use compost. It can be compost you buy in the garden centre. These days you can get peat free if that's what you prefer, but of course it could be your own garden compost, or you could use leaf mold that you might have made yourself by putting lots of leaves in bags in the autumn and letting them break down and rot down to form that lovely leaf mold. Or you can use something like mineralized straw. This is a fairly recent product, but this is a mineralized straw, also makes a fabulous mulch. It is organic, but also this one deters slugs and snails. It doesn't kill them, but it just deters them, so they're still around to feed the blackbirds and the starlings, all those birds that like to eat slugs and snails. So, there is a really large range of organic mulches. You can probably think of a lot more, but the advantage of them is they will improve the life of the soil. They will improve all the healthy elements of the soil, as well as all the benefits that we've mentioned as well. It's better to use an organic mulch if possible, but sometimes that's not possible and you need to use an inorganic one. And these can be very varied as well. You can use big pebbles, for example, Scottish pebbles or something similar like that, spread out over the ground in different sizes. They will hold the moisture in. They'll also suppress the weeds. And of course, they have the advantage, I suppose, the fact they never break down, so you don't need to replace them. But also you could use gravel, you could use chippings, you could use something like that. And again, that's there for a long time, and they will suppress weeds, keep the moisture in. And also during the winter time, they make good surfaces to be able to walk over without mud and debris sticking to the bottom of your feet. But of course, on the flip side, they're not going to improve the life or the biodiversity of the soil. But depending on the situation, you can either use an inorganic or an organic mulch, but either way, they have their own advantages, and they're going to help the plants, and also they're going to help with those garden chores being massively reduced because less watering and less weeding, for example. Few things to remember when you apply your mulch is don't put it on ground that's frozen, waterlogged or bone dry. Also, Don't put it right up against the stems of plants and trees, because that can cause the bark to rot and cause problems. And when you put it down, you need it to be at least 10 centimeters deep. If it's a lot shallower than that, it's not going to do what you need it to do. So just follow those guidelines, and the mulch is going to just make your life and the life of your plants so much easier. People mulch their gardens at different times of the year, but I find the best time is spring, just after the perennials are starting to emerge. That way you can mulch around them and not over the top of them, and you don't impede the new growth in the spring. In summary, there's so many good reasons to mulch your garden: keeping the weeds down, keeping the moisture in, improving the soil bacteria, making it easy to walk between the plants. So why don't you get mulching this summer? Take advantage of all the different things it can create and do for you in the garden. It'll cut down your weeding time, it'll cut down your watering time, and the organic ones in particular just bring so many advantages to the garden and your plants. Wow, that witch hazel smells amazing. Hope you're enjoying the videos, and please keep watching for more gardening advice.